Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my channel. I'm Ruba, and in this series of videos we're talking about Palestinian embroidery or Tatreez. If you didn't see any of the previous videos, please do so you can catch up to everything we talked about so far. If you are someone who's itching to start a Tatreez project, don't worry, we will be doing that very soon and I have so many ideas planned for you. In today's video, we will discuss some of the stitches used in Palestinian embroidery or Tatreez. Let's start. Alright, before we start talking about the stitches, it is important to understand that some of these stitches are purely decorative. Some has function like joining pieces of thobe together, or hem the dress, or finishing the edges of the sleeves or the neck area, and so on. And some of these stitches can actually be both decorative and functional. So, for today, I will talk about some of these stitches, what they are used for, and show you what they look like. We won't be able to list all the stitches that are used in Palestinian embroidery or Tatreez, but these are the ones that we will start learning about, and maybe in the future, we can make a part 2 of this video to include other stitches. Okay, the first stitch and the most common one in Tatreez is the cross stitch, which looks like this. We also call it the X stitch or fallahi stitch, غرزة فلاحي in Arabic. غرزة in Arabic means a stitch, and fallahi is an Arabic word that refers to anything that is done by people in the villages or towns. And because this stitch was heavily used by people in the village or people in small towns, we call it the fallahi stitch. The fallahi stitch or the cross stitch is a decorative stitch, and we use it to create these traditional motifs that we talked about in the previous video. The next stitch is the couching stitch or the Tahrir stitch, and this is what it looks like. This stitch was used in certain areas like Beit Lahem and Al-Quds or Jerusalem before it started to spread and women from other areas started to include it in their dresses. To do this stitch, we need two threads, one to trace the design we have and the other one is to hold it in place, which is different than the fallahi stitch which only needs one thread. This stitch is also a decorative stitch. Next is the manajil or joining stitch. This is a decorative and functional stitch. We use this stitch to join two pieces of the thobe together. To do this stitch, you kinda go up on one piece and then down on the other, making the shape of the infinity sign or the figure 8. There are also few variations of this stitch as you can see on the screen. Sometimes this stitch is done in one color or multiple colors. Next is a stitch that we use a lot with the couching stitch, or sometimes we use it alone. We call it tihshai or satin stitch. The word tihshai in Arabic means filling, and we use this stitch to fill areas of the couching stitch design. Sometimes we use it alone to create the entire motif. This stitch also became more popular with the introduction of sewing machine, and we started to see entire thobes done completely with this stitch. We call it thobe tara. Tara in Arabic is the hoop, and because we use the hoop to hold the fabric when we are doing the stitch on the sewing machine, we call it thobe tara. Of course, before the introduction of the sewing machine, this stitch was completely done by hand, and this is also a decorative stitch. Next is kfaf or double bar satin stitch, which looks like this. We see this stitch a lot at the bottom of a Bedouin dress. It's usually done by either red or blue color, depending on a woman's marital status, and we use this single color to create these parallel lines. Moving on to the fishbone stitch, which you see over here. We also call it sabala, which is wheat, or we call it sab'a or 7 because it looks like 7 in Arabic. This is a decorative stitch but also has a function. We use this stitch to make the hem of the dress more strong and more thick. And in some areas like Beit Lahem, for example, this stitch is used to cover the seams where two fabrics are joined together, or as a filling stitch. You can also see this stitch on shatwa, which is the headdress used in Beit Lahem. Next is skipping back stitch or قطبة النمل. Namel in Arabic is ants, and this stitch got the name قطبة النمل because it looks like a row of tiny ants standing next to each other. This is also a decorative and functional stitch because we use it to hold two fabrics together. This stitch is a 3-point back stitch which is spread out equally. This next stitch is called tashrim or zigzag or ijrissus because it looks like a tiny chick's foot and it's used to hold or apply a small piece of fabric onto a larger one. And last but not least is this habka or binding interlaced cross stitch, which is used to finish the edges of the neck opening or the sleeves or any opening of the dress, as you can see in the picture. Alright, these are some of the main stitches in Tatreez, and like we said earlier, some are decorative, functional, or both. In the next video, I will teach you how to do the first stitch, which is the fallahi or cross stitch. So prepare your Aida fabric, thread, scissors, and needle. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Before you go, please make sure to share, like, and subscribe. Alright, I'll see you next week. Bye!